The elder's voice did not echo in the Galactic Council chamber. It sank. That alone should have terrified them. I have lived through 3 extinction cycles, the elder said, leaning on a staff older than most empires in the room. I have advised conquerors who believed themselves immortal. I have buried species who thought mercy was weakness. And I tell you this plainly, do not provoke the humans. Laughter rippled through the amphitheater of light and glass. The War Master of the Kale Dominion reclined in his command cradle, armored mandibles flexing in amusement. You speak of the bipedal primates? He asked. The ones still arguing over borders on their homeworld? They are loud, divided, and inefficient. They are unfinished, the elder replied. That is far more dangerous. Another counselor scoffed. They refused tribute. They rejected guidance. They ignored protocol. What do you suggest we do? Reward insolence? The elder's gaze hardened. I suggest you leave them alone. Silence followed. Brief. Uncomfortable. Then the War Master rose. The galaxy is not ruled by ghosts and warnings, he declared. It is ruled by force. And force requires demonstration. The vote passed in under a minute. The first human colony was designated an example. It was called Haven's Reach, a mining and agricultural outpost orbiting a tired red star. No orbital defenses worth mentioning. No fleet presence. Just families, engineers, ex-soldiers trying to build something quieter than Earth. The Kale raid lasted 17 minutes. Orbital lances cut through habitation rings. Atmospheric processors collapsed. Escape craft were shot down not because they were threats, but because they were visible. On the ground, Kale's shock troops advanced in disciplined formations, plasma rifles burning lines through human shelters. The humans fought anyway. With tools. With hunting weapons. With industrial cutters turned into makeshift cannons. A Kale trooper recorded one encounter for later review. A human woman, bleeding from her scalp, charged him screaming with a broken farming blade. She didn't slow down even after losing an arm. She bit through his suit seal before collapsing. The trooper survived. He did not sleep again. When the War Master reviewed the footage, he dismissed it with a flick of his claw. Desperation theater. Irrelevant. The colony was reduced to slag and frozen debris. The message was clear. Earth did not respond. No protests. No threats. No appeal to the Council. Just silence. The War Master mistook it for fear. The elder felt it in his bones. On Earth, silence meant arguments had ended. Deep beneath cities and oceans, humans gathered, not in councils of diplomacy, but in war rooms that smelled of old metal and older grudges. Generals, economists, historians, and politicians sat together, something that normally took a crisis to achieve. A grizzled man with service ribbons older than most present spoke first. They hit civilians, he said. No declaration. No warning. A younger woman tapped a holodisplay, pulling up casualty projections. If we respond proportionally, they'll escalate. If we escalate, they'll cry foul to the Council. The old man nodded. Then we don't play their game. Someone asked the question no one liked. How far? The room went quiet. Finally, a civilian, an economist, not a soldier, answered. All the way, she said. Or not at all. There was no cheering. No patriotic speeches. Just signatures. The first human retaliation did not involve a single ship. Within days, Kale trade networks began to unravel. Insurance algorithms, written by humans, licensed galaxy-wide, suddenly reclassified Kale's shipping lanes as statistically unstable. Freight prices tripled. Neutral carriers rerouted. Human-controlled microfabricators stopped exporting key components. Not weapons. Filters. Seals. Software updates. Kale's shipyard stalled. Then came culture. Human media vanished from Kale space overnight. Entertainment, tutorials, medical archives, gone. In their place appeared something else. History. Human wars. Human genocides. Human mistakes. Unfiltered. This is what we do to ourselves. The captions read. Imagine what we do to enemies. The War Master was irritated, not alarmed. Psychological posturing, he said. Prepare the second strike. The second target was Grayfall, a civilian transport hub. This time, extermination orders were explicit. No survivors. The Kale fleet jumped in formation. They never jumped out. Their ships arrived in real space, and died there. No warning shots. No communications. Human weapons bloomed from nothing. Mines that did not explode, but attached. Hulls corroded from the inside out as self-replicating compounds ate through armor and bone alike. Then the humans appeared. Not sleek warships. Converted cargo haulers. Mining barges wrapped in armor. Asteroids with engines bolted on and gun ports carved into stone. Their hulls were painted. Names scrawled in dozens of human languages. No second chances. You should have stopped. Haven remembers. Human ships did not form lines. They charged. They rammed. They boarded. A Kale commander screamed over open comms. They are violating every engagement protocol. A human voice answered, laughing. Yeah. We're good at that. Boarding torpedoes punched through hulls. Human soldiers poured into corridors filled with smoke and fire, fighting at breath distance. Shotguns roared. Blades flashed. Flamethrowers turned armored troops into screaming beacons of terror. One human marine was recorded dragging himself forward with one leg, pulling pins with his teeth. The battle lasted 8 minutes. Nothing Kale survived. Then Earth finally spoke. Every channel. Every frequency. A single human voice. Old. Calm. Exhausted. You killed our people, it said. We asked nothing from you. You chose this. Coordinates followed. No threat. Just a destination. The elder collapsed into his seat as the transmission ended. Around him, the council finally understood. Humans were not declaring war. They were inviting the galaxy to watch an execution. The coordinates led to a system that should have been unremarkable. No habitable planets, no strategic resources, just a dying star and scattered debris drifting like forgotten bones. It was the perfect trap, or so the Kale thought. The scouting fleet arrived first. Sleek, predatory vessels glinting in the dying light. Their sensors hummed, their officers confident. Nothing returned from the Kale fleet that followed. The elder, who had watched humanity's rise with wary admiration, could only mutter. They are not a species. They are a memory made flesh. What the Kale discovered was horrifyingly simple. Humans weaponized expectation. Mines that didn't explode but latched onto hulls, drilling slowly and injecting self-replicating corrosion. Satellites that stayed dormant until enemy ships entered orbit. Autonomous drones that moved silently through vacuum, no sensors, no chatter, until they struck. And then the humans arrived. Not with the sleek elegance of galactic navies, but with converted freighters, asteroid hulks, and salvage vessels that bristled with mismatched weaponry. Rusted steel, patched plating, graffitied hulls. They were ugly. They were terrifying. They were human. The first Kale officer to see them live transmitted. They are broadcasting music? Aggressive percussive signals. Is this some kind of battle hymn? It was. The humans boarded like ancient pirates, bursting through hulls, cutting through corridors with fire and steel, choking smoke filling every compartment. Shotguns roared in vacuum. Chemical blades hissed. Flamethrowers danced unpredictably, melting armor and terror alike. One human captain laughed over the comms, voice steady. You brought your codes and your etiquette. We brought reality. Entire squadrons of Kale warships were annihilated in minutes. Collateral damage? Minimal. But the psychological effect was total. The Kale officers began recording evidence of atrocities committed by their own commanders, suspecting at last that no victory awaited them. The War Master, in disbelief, ordered a full invasion. Entire fleets jumped into human territory, expecting the same, primitive defenses, the first colonies had offered. He underestimated everything. Every colony, beyond Sol, was self-sufficient, heavily armed, and wired to feed combat data directly to Earth. Each Kale victory, or so they thought, fed human strategy, refining tactics and adjusting for psychological patterns. It was an empire-sized game of chess, and the humans already knew the outcome. The decisive engagement occurred at the Hades Rift, a jagged trench of fractured planets and unstable gravity wells. Human ships did not maneuver like fleets. They collided, rammed, and self-destructed intentionally, taking entire Kale squadrons with them. One cruiser vented its reactor directly into the lead command ship, obliterating the bridge and frying every sensor in range. Afterward, the human admiral broadcasted, calm and clipped. "You wanted decisive? Here it is." The elder, who had spent millennia counseling restraint, finally broke in. "You are fighting a civilization, yes. But now, the very memory of every war they have ever survived fights with them." The Kale invasion fleet was gone. The War Master, stunned and panicked, demanded negotiations. Earth sent a human elder, a veteran infantryman, missing an arm, smiling like someone who had buried too many friends but refused to cry. He listened politely to the War Master's pleas. Then he leaned forward, voice quiet, deadly calm. "You burned our children. Twice. We're not asking for peace. We're returning the favor, with interest." No one in the council spoke. No one breathed. The galaxy realized, collectively, that humanity had rewritten the rules of engagement. They didn't negotiate. They didn't pardon. They finished. And no one, not the War Master, not the Council, not even the Elder who had warned them, had seen it coming. The war stopped being about territory the moment the humans realized it never had to be. Strike groups hunted Kale leadership with ruthless precision. Not planets, not populations, leaders. Commanders were extracted, assassinated, or disappeared. Propaganda hubs were overwritten with videos of human soldiers eating rations, joking, laughing as Kale bureaucracies collapsed around them. Dark humor became a weapon. One broadcast showed a human marine staring directly into a camera. His helmet was scratched, scorched, blood flecking the glass. "We were told you're superior," he said, voice calm. "Funny thing, every superior species bleeds the same." The Kale tried piecemeal surrender. Individual governors, frightened worlds, desperate fleets, offered terms in the hope of mercy. Humans ignored it. Mercy, they believed, was only for accidents. The Elder confronted a human strategist in private, a woman whose eyes held battles older than any recorded history. "You will destroy them," he said, voice trembling. "And in the process yourself?" She leaned back, one arm draped across the table. "Maybe," she said. "But we'll sleep at night." And sleep they did. Human warriors had no illusions. They mourned the dead, counted the cost, then moved forward. Every strike, every trap, every tactical genius had a human face behind it. Someone had lived, fought, failed, and learned. There was one moment of hesitation. A Kale civilian convoy, a flotilla of women, children, and elderly, drifted toward a human blockade, fleeing worlds that were falling apart. Human gunners held their fire. Orders were unclear. A captain spoke over the comms, low, measured. "Stand down, weapons! We're not monsters!" The convoy passed. The decision rippled through the galaxy like a single spark in dry brush. Some species hoped this might signal restraint, a chance for mercy, a path back from the brink. And then the twist hit. The humans released a full archive of the initial Kale colony massacre, their first strike, unedited, enhanced, broadcast across every system, every channel, every communication array. Even Kale civilians saw what their leaders had done. Panic, fear, and outrage ignited from one world to the next. Civil unrest metastasized into revolutions. Kale governments collapsed internally before humanity even fired a second shot. The War Master was dragged before a human tribunal. He barked, demanded mercy, cited treaties and conventions. A human judge leaned forward. Her voice was quiet but thunderous. "Mercy is for accidents. You made choices. His sentence was exile, not execution. Alone, unarmed, and dropped on a barren moon with a single recording device. To remember, she said. As long as you live. The War Master's screams echoed across the vacuum, unheard but recorded, a warning etched into the annals of every interstellar archive. Humanity did not celebrate. They repaired what they could, mourned their own, and set watchposts across former Chaos systems, not as occupiers, but as sentinels. A statement, clear and unflinching, we remember. And so will you. The Elder finally understood. Humans did not pardon. They did not negotiate. They did not compromise. They survived. And then, quietly, they made sure no one else could forget it. Even those who witnessed it, even those who survived it, could not fully grasp the magnitude. The galaxy had assumed humans were predictable, weak, or polite. They were none of these. They were final. And now, the question remained, who would dare test them next? Years passed, but the memory of the Kale Dominion lingered like a scar across the galaxy. Entire worlds had collapsed under the weight of their own terror, leaving fractured societies in their wake. Humanity did not claim these planets. They did not occupy them. They left them broken, autonomous, and afraid, a warning carved into the bones of stars. The Galactic Council convened in secrecy, rewriting their protocols and doctrines. Never again would a species underestimate humanity. Never again would a counselor laugh at the Elder's warning. Every law, every charter, every treaty carried a single admonition: do not test humanity. The Elder returned to Earth one final time. He walked along a hill overlooking a vast memorial. Names of fallen humans stretched farther than the eye could see. He traced the etched letters with trembling fingers, feeling the weight of every life lost, every sacrifice made. You won, he said quietly, voice cracking. A human stood beside him, older now, scarred, missing limbs, gray at the temples. His hands rested on the hilt of a ceremonial blade. He shook his head. No, he said, voice rough but steady. We survived. There's a difference. The Elder hesitated. Do you regret it? The human considered the question, eyes scanning the endless rows of etched names, memories of fire and blood flashing behind his gaze. We regret that it was necessary, he said finally. But not that we finished it. The Elder nodded slowly. For the first time, he understood something he had only warned others about in whispers. Humanity's strength was not in technology, tactics, or even cunning. It was in their unflinching refusal to forgive. As the Elder departed, he broadcast one final message to the stars, a warning carried in every frequency. I warned you, he said softly. Humans don't pardon. And then, with a voice heavier, colder, and unyielding, the human beside him added. And now, he said, neither do we. Far across the void, the remnants of defeated empires trembled. The lesson was simple, brutal, and immutable. Humanity's wrath was precise, relentless, and unforgettable. The galaxy would never forget it. In that silence, in that quiet aftermath, one truth endured: humans did not merely fight. Humans survived, adapted, and struck with the certainty of those who had nothing left to lose, and everything to remember. And in the end, that was more terrifying than any fleet, more crushing than any weapon, and more enduring than any empire. The galaxy had learned the hard way. Humans don't pardon. And no one ever would again.